You know what's wild? Most people spend their entire lives working for money, dreaming about money, and stressing over money, but they've never actually stopped to ask what it is. We treat money like a law of nature, like gravity or oxygen, but it's not. It's a story. Think about it. You go to work for 40, 50, 60 hours a week. At the end of that month, you receive a digital notification or a piece of paper. You take that paper to a store, hand it to a stranger, and they give you food, clothes, or a laptop. Why? Why does a piece of green cotton or a digit on a screen have the power to command another human being's labor? The textbook answer is that money is a medium of exchange or a store of value, but that's a safe, sterile definition. The real answer: money is trust. It is a collective hallucination. It is an invisible contract we all sign without reading the fine print. Fiat currencies, like the dollar, the euro, or the yen, have no intrinsic worth. You can't eat them, you can't build a house with them, and they aren't backed by gold anymore. Their value depends entirely on the public's confidence that someone else will accept them tomorrow. This is the first great illusion of the system. When you get a paycheck, you aren't receiving wealth. You're receiving a claim on wealth. It's a promise. The moment people stop believing in the promise, the wealth evaporates. If tomorrow morning everyone decided the dollar was just paper, the government couldn't stop the collapse. The system only works because we all agree it works. Centuries ago, a small group of people realized that if they could control that agreement, if they could control the trust, they could control the world. And they did. They built a system so complex and mystical that the average person would never think to question it. They made it seem like high science so you would blame yourself when you don't have enough of it, rather than questioning the design of the game itself. So, let's walk through the actual mechanics of this game. Most of us think that when we put $1,000 into a savings account, that money sits in a vault waiting for us. That is a myth. The moment you walk out of the bank, your $1,000 is gone. Through a system called fractional reserve banking, the bank is only required to keep a tiny fraction of your deposit, often as little as 10%, or in some recent cases, 0% in reserve. They take the rest and lend it out to someone else at a higher interest rate. But here is where your brain might start to hurt. The bank isn't just lending your money. They are actually creating new money out of thin air. When a bank issues a $400,000 mortgage, they don't go to a vault and pull out $400,000 physical dollars. They simply type numbers into a computer. They create a digital asset, the loan, and a digital liability, the deposit. This means that every dollar in the system, beyond the small amount of physical cash, is actually debt. Think about the implications of that. Your salary, your savings, the balance in your investment account, a massive portion of that money only exists because someone, somewhere, is paying interest on a loan. If every debt in the world were paid off tomorrow, there would be no money left in the system. The money is debt. Because of this, the system requires perpetual, infinite growth just to stay alive. Every loan created has interest attached. If a bank creates $1 million in new loans at 5% interest, it has put $1 million into the economy, but it has simultaneously created a requirement for $1,050,000 to be paid back. Where does that extra $50,000 come from? It doesn't exist yet. The only way to pay it back is for the bank to issue more loans, creating more debt, in a never-ending cycle of expansion. This isn't a mistake, it's a feature. The system was designed to be a treadmill. If the growth stops, the system collapses. This is why the news is always obsessed with consumer spending and GDP growth. They need you to keep borrowing and keep spending because your debt is the fuel that keeps the currency valuable. They engineered a culture where debt is treated as normal, while the reality is that we are living in a giant game of musical chairs where the music never stops, and the chairs are made of iOS. You might be thinking, okay, the system is rigged for debt, but I'll just opt out. I won't borrow. I'll stay free. Logically, that makes sense, but the architects of this system are master psychologists. They didn't just build a financial trap, they built a cultural and emotional one. They knew that human beings are social creatures who crave status and security. So, they changed the definition of wealth. In the old world, wealth meant freedom, having enough to not be told what to do. In the modern system, wealth has been redefined as consumption. Success is no longer measured by how much time you own, but by how many expensive things you can display. The house that is twice as big as you need, the car that costs as much as a college degree, the phone that is 5% faster than the one you bought last year. You weren't born wanting these things with this intensity. You were trained to want them. Through thousands of advertisements a day and a social media landscape designed to make you feel less than, you have been conditioned to see consumption as the cure for your anxiety. And here is the genius of the trap. The system lets you have all of it before you've earned it. That is what debt actually is. It is time travel for consumption. Debt allows you to reach into your future to take the labor you haven't performed yet, the hours of your life you haven't lived yet, and pull them into the present to buy a lifestyle you can't afford today. When you sign for that 7-year car loan or that 30-year mortgage, you aren't just buying a product. You are selling your future self into a state of predictable, controllable labor. While you are busy paying back the time you traveled to get that car, you can't afford to take risks. You can't quit the job you hate. You can't start a business. You can't move to a new city. You are trapped not by iron chains, but by the comfort of the things you own that actually own you. The people at the top of the financial food chain love debt because people with debt are easy to manage. They show up to work on time. They don't cause trouble. They are the perfect cogs in the machine. To keep you in this state, the system makes finance intentionally complicated. APRs, compound interest, credit scores, escrow, revolving credit. It's all jargon designed to make you feel like you aren't smart enough to handle money, so you should just leave it to the experts. When you fail within this complicated web, you blame yourself. You feel shame. And when you feel shame, you don't get angry at the system, you just work harder to try and catch up. Now, let's look at the other side of the curtain. Let's talk about the people who actually understand how money works. They aren't smarter than you, but they are playing by a different set of rules. The biggest secret is that the wealthy don't use debt to consume, they use it to create. When the average person borrows money, they buy a liability, something that goes down in value and takes money out of their pocket every month. When a wealthy person borrows money, they buy an asset, something that goes up in value or puts money into their pocket every month. Imagine two people borrowing $100,000. Person buys a luxury SUV. The moment they drive it off the lot, it's worth $80,000. They have to work a 9-to-5 to pay the interest on that loan with after-tax dollars, meaning they have to earn $150 to pay back $100 after the government takes its cut. Person B borrows $100,000 to buy a small rental property or a piece of a business. That asset generates income that covers the loan payment. Even better, the interest they pay is often tax deductible. While person A is being drained by their debt, person B is using the bank's created money to build their own equity. They are using the system's own debt-based mechanics to enrich themselves. This is where compound interest becomes either your greatest enemy or your greatest ally. Einstein famously called it the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." If you invest $500 a month into a diversified portfolio from the age of 25, by the time you are 65, you have over $1.5 million. But the system is designed to make sure you never have that $500 to spare. Between the student loans, the car payments, and the lifestyle creep, most people are so busy servicing the interest on their past consumption that they never have the capital to invest in their future freedom. The wealthy often have a head start through generational wealth, which gives them the seed capital to start this process early. But even without a head start, the difference in outcome comes down to one thing: the direction of your cash flow. Does money flow from the bank to you, or from you to the bank? In the current system, the middle class is the primary source of income for the wealthy class. Your interest payments are their dividends. Your debt is their asset. So, where does this leave you? Is the situation hopeless? Knowing how the system works doesn't magically make the debt disappear or the cost of living go down. But it does something far more powerful. It removes the blindfold. The first step to changing any game is to realize you are in a game. Once you see the invisible architecture, once you realize that the pressure you feel isn't because you are bad with money, but because the system is designed to keep you on a treadmill, the shame starts to fade. And when the shame fades, you can start making rational choices. You can't opt out of the financial system entirely. We all need a place to live and food to eat. But you can opt out of the psychological trap. You can decide that your status isn't tied to a car brand. You can decide that wealth isn't a number in a bank account, but the number of days you could survive without a paycheck. You can start to treat your income not as a way to buy stuff, but as seed capital to buy back your time. Every time you pay off a debt, you are reclaiming a piece of your future life. Every time you buy an asset instead of a luxury, you are building a small machine that works so you don't have to. The system wants you to be a consumer. It wants you to be predictable, tired, and slightly in debt. But you can choose to be an owner. This requires a shift in mindset that most people are unwilling to make because it feels boring or slow compared to the high of a new purchase. It means living below your means so that one day you can live beyond your wildest dreams. It means understanding that the $1,000 you spend today on a gadget isn't just $1,000, it's the $20,000 that money could have become over 30 years if it were invested. It's not about being cheap, it's about being sovereign. The rules of money were written by people who win when you lose. But once you know the rules, you can stop playing their game and start playing yours. You might not become a billionaire overnight, but you can build a life where money is your servant, not your master. You can move from being a ghost in the machine to being the architect of your own freedom. And that isn't just a financial goal, it's a moral one. Because when you own your time, you are free to be the person you were actually meant to be, before the system told you who you should be. Now you know how the invisible architecture works. You see the treadmill for what it is. The question is, are you going to keep running at the pace they set for you, or are you going to start building your own path? The choice is yours. If this deep dive into the real rules of the game was eye-opening for you, hit that subscribe button. We're going to keep pulling back the curtain on the systems that shape our world, one video at a time. The more you understand the architecture, the less you'll be trapped by it. Thanks for watching.